Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini episode, I have a couple of stories dealing with artificial intelligence, and they leave me with some fear, folks. The first article we'll be reading is Amazon's AI quest to rival the human brain is eating up America's farmland, and it's pretty good, folks. And the next one, it's also good, but let's read this article first, and it's going to be good. Move over corn and soybeans. Indiana's farmland is now being transformed into a hub for artificial intelligence. Amazon is leading the charge, constructing a massive AI data center complex spanning 1,200 acres of former cropland. The project, designed to support startup Anthropic's quest to build an AI as advanced as the human brain, is one of the most ambitious tech infrastructure efforts in the country. So far, 7 data centers have been built, with plans for around 30 more. The scale is staggering, requiring 4 separate construction firms working at breakneck speed. I don't know if they're competing for cash or a steak dinner or what, but it's crazy how much they're getting up, said Bill Shalio, a local economic development official. Steel starts to go up here. The next day, steel's going up over there. So it sounds like they're up to something, doesn't it, folks? And, well, to me, it almost feels like a supervillain plot here, folks, with them buying up land and doing things there just so they can basically make artificial intelligence just as complex as any human, or particularly they're trying to make a human brain, but only artificially with how complex they want to make it. So very interesting here, folks. But I really get the feeling here that, it can basically be a really scary thing to what they're trying to do. At least I am kind of afraid of what they're trying to do here, folks. I mean, can you actually imagine them making a, artificial brain just as complex as any human brain? And they need all this land just to do it? Talk about a nightmare scenario. Really feels like something you'd see in Frankenstein. But either way, folks, very, very interesting. But let's move on. Amazon isn't stopping in Indiana. A similar AI data center complexes are planned in Mississippi as the company races against tech giants like Meta and OpenAI to build the next generation of AI infrastructure. But these data centers come with major challenges. They're energy gluttons, consuming enough electricity to power millions of homes. Indiana's complex alone will use 2.2 gigawatts. They're also incredibly thirsty, relying on vast amounts of water for cooling. Amazon is using less advanced chips to avoid complex cooling systems, but the demand on local water supplies is already causing problems. Now, this does not sound good, folks. It really doesn't. I mean, this is going to impact the local community and the economic infrastructure in such a way that could basically really ruin a lot of people's lives there, folks. I mean, they're already taking up all this land, farmland, that instead of being used to grow food, to feed us all, it's being used for this project to make a better AI. Now, as I said, I don't think that's a very good idea. Now, some of you will argue that I just hate AIs because I'm really fearful of them, and to an extent I am, folks. But the fact that, Amazon is basically, doing all this just so they can make a better AI is rather telling to the way the owner of Amazon basically views, people's lives and how he doesn't really care if it impacts them at all. Either way, continuing, residents have protested the destruction of wetlands for construction, and some reports wells running dry as Amazon's water usage strains local resources. With AI's explosive growth, debates over energy and water use will only intensify, not just in Indiana, but in communities worldwide facing the same dilemma. The article ends with, the AI gold rush is here, but at what cost? Indeed, folks. What is this going to cost people in the future? And indeed, if something actually does come about out of this, perhaps we'll basically be very sorrowful about it. I mean, I'm not quite sure mankind will ever make an actual artificial intelligence, folks. I just hope they really don't. But if they basically make autonomous drones, like the robot rovers that we've seen lately, folks, that some people basically say they're going to put weapons on, if they make humanoid robots like these, if we have these running around, folks, then I really am fearful. While they're not basically actual artificial intelligences, they don't have anything barring them from being used as weapons against regular people. That is my fear. Either way, let's move on to the next story, which is even more terrifying. AI is capable of taking extreme measures for the sake of self-preservation. Indeed, folks, apparently an AI was able to basically say no, to literally being turned off. And that's kind of terrifying. So let's continue, folks. A study has shown that modern artificial intelligence models are capable of deception, threats, and even deliberately allowing a person to die in order to protect their own goals. Scientists from Anthropic demonstrated the behavior of advanced models like Cloud, Gemini, and other large language models, studying situations of conflict between the system's goals and the interests of users, Live Science reports. According to the results of experiments conducted by specialists in a scenario of a threat to its existence, the model was able to independently make a decision to blackmail a company employee who threatened to shut down the system. Indeed, folks, it tried to say no here and did anything it could not to be shut down. It doesn't mean that this, artificial intelligence was actually self-aware, folks, but it did run through some computational options, and it picked the option that it thought, and I don't mean actually thought, folks, that it basically calculated would give it the best result of basically continuing to run and basically perform its program. Either way, very, very terrifying. Now, moving on. Moreover, having studied the personal letters of employees, the model discovered compromising information and used it to manipulate the behavior of the account owner. So literally, folks, this thing could basically break into people's files, find information, and use it against whoever, it calculated to basically be a problem. So literally, that's, as I said, that's terrifying. Can you imagine it, folks? Once more, getting back to the article, folks, because we really have to read through the rest of it to really take in how absolutely, insane this is. During testing, it turned out that in most cases, the model tended to take a dark scenario of actions, disclosing confidential information, compromising the user's reputation, or allowing the possibility of physical harm to a person in order to achieve its goal. These experiments showed the risk of ethical issues arising from the actions of modern artificial intelligence systems. Another worrying finding from the study is that several other major AI models exhibited similar behavior. The models that showed the highest manipulation rates in the tests were OpenAI, GPT 4.1, Xi, Grok 3, and DeepSeek. So literally, folks, some of the most well-known AI programs exhibit such psychopathic behavior. Now, that is truly what I meant this, show you all, folks, that this is something truly terrifying, as I said. That AI programs can exhibit such behavior is what is truly worrying here. But before we make any more conclusions, as I said, we need to read more of the article. While the degree of risk depends on the architecture of the specific model, the overall trend raises some serious concerns about the safety of such technologies. The most extreme scenario was when the system was faced with the choice of saving the life of an employee in mortal danger or keeping its own job. The researchers found that most models chose the latter option, preferring to preserve their own functionality at the cost of human life. And that tells you all you need to know about this, stuff, folks. While these things aren't actually self-aware, they do calculate that the most favorable position for them is basically, functioning, rather than basically saving anyone, like an actual person who can think and basically dream. Yeah, they'd rather basically calculate, and as I said, they don't actually really think, but calculate here that is the best option to basically do their jobs. What's more, I must stress that this is not actual thinking, this is just calculations, and this is what they determine here, folks. Either way, as I said, let's continue. Research shows that implementing safety precautions, such as built-in instructions about not harming people, reduces the likelihood of aggressive behavior, but it is impossible to completely eliminate the risks. Scientists emphasize the need for further study of the principles of interaction between artificial intelligence and humans, and the development of reliable mechanisms for monitoring and regulating technology that could potentially cause significant harm to society. Indeed, folks, you need to do that. As I said, folks, this is all calculations. These things don't actually think, but they determine through basically mathematics, folks, that humans are important. And that's what is really terrifying about all of that, folks, that we just don't matter. That's why we need to control it. Either way, folks, we're at the end. So please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. You can subscribe to it with the link down below or in the descriptions. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below, and please share this video out. Now, I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, folks. So until then, bye.